Today on the show, we're going to be talking about cameras. As you guys are well aware, in our day and age of technology, there are so many different types of cameras. But specifically for the filmmaking world, there are four that I like to focus on: camcorders, DSLRs, action cameras, and drones. First, let's start with camcorders. What is a camcorder? Basically, it's your camera that is dedicated to record for long periods of time. These are typically used for your lectures, conferences, even sometimes your films if you just have those really long takes. Camcorders are also used for broadcasting, so sometimes you'll find camcorders that have SDI out, which is a specific type of connection which goes into a video mixer, and then that signal is sent out to broadcasting. Typically camcorders have a lens attached to them, and so therefore it's an optical zoom. So sometimes it'll be 20x, sometimes it'll be 10x, depending on the model and the consumer grade. Lately, manufacturers have been adding more technological advances to camcorders, such as touchscreen and peaking and other features like that. Most camcorders come with an XLR input, but also a 3.5mm jack input, and that's used for your audio sources. Most of the time you can find that these audio inputs have levels onto the cameras, so you can have direct clean sound going straight into the camera right when you're recording. Camcorders can range in size from about maybe this big to about this big. They can be pretty intense and really sophisticated. Of course, the higher end camcorders have so many more features like built-in ND filters. Later in the series, I'll talk about what those are. Like all cameras, camcorders have a variable frame rate. Sometimes you can record in 24p to get that film look. Sometimes it's 25p if you're in the UK. Also 60p if you want to do slow motion, or even greater than that. So that's basically camcorders in a nutshell. The next camera I'd like to discuss is DSLR. Now, what does DSLR stand for? Digital Single Lens Reflector. DSLR cameras are fantastic for video, especially recently in the past, I would say 5 years. They do amazing video quality. But again, the primary function of DSLR cameras is that they mainly take photos, right? So on the top dial of DSLR cameras, you'll find many different types of modes. Those are all pertaining to the photo settings that you want to go for, whether it's shutter priority, aperture priority. Most photographers, if you're a professional, go manual. But DSLRs are also great for video because of the flexibility, the complete image control you have, and of course, if you're on a budget, these are an excellent choice. Back when DSLRs first came out, there was a disadvantage of having them versus a camcorder. First of all, it was a tax issue. Does this camera count as a video camera or not? Secondly, there was a 12-minute cutoff point. Also a 4 gig cutoff point, whichever came first, depending on the amount of data that's being filmed. So that was one disadvantage of having a DSLR. But a way to go around that, some people have came up with hacks for different DSLRs like the Canon T2i, T3i, T4i. But then recently, specifically Canon came out with a way to get over that 12-minute cutoff point. And that's basically that they just kept it rolling. They just kept it running, but they just started the recording again. So that means after 12 minutes, it would automatically start recording one more time. And the best part about it is when you put the clips together in post-production, there is not a skipped frame. But I think there are more pros than cons when owning a DSLR. You get to change your lenses, so therefore you can get different focal lengths. You can put on different types of lenses to have different types of looks. DSLRs are also very versatile for all sorts of situations. So if you want to be that filmmaker who wants to run and gun, this is the type of camera you want to go for. Now, of course, there is a downside to that, in that if you do have a zoom lens on there, it's hard to zoom and then try to get a focus going on immediately. So sometimes some cameras have the capability of doing automatic focus or manual focus. That's where a camcorder can come in and actually outdo the DSLR in those types of situations. Because of that built-in lens, you have that cradle zoom on the top of the camera. You can get fast zooms in and out and getting a quick focus rather than having a manual zoom lens and then you have to manually focus. The next camera I want to talk about quickly is the Action Cam. Now, most people who think of Action Cam automatically think of GoPro. Now, these cameras are absolutely awesome. There is one downside: they don't zoom. But of course, if you have a GoPro Hero 4 Black shooting at 4K resolution and you're doing a 1080p video, you can easily do a digital zoom and you still have clean quality. These cameras are used for those hard places to place cameras but still get an amazing picture. Now, of course, with their wide angle, they do distort the image quite a bit. However, these can be great for, POV videos, point of view. They can also just be that additional camera you need for that extra angle just to make your production value of your video much greater. Another great feature is that they are also very versatile in frame rates, in resolution, and of course placement. You can put these things anywhere. The next camera I want to talk about is the quadcopter. These guys are absolutely fantastic. They are so popular nowadays because of what they can do. I mean, how often can you get a camera way up in the sky and get amazing aerial footage? Not often. At least back in the day it was tough. Now it's so accessible. Of course, if you have the budget for it. And of course, you'll have different types of quadcopter brands that are out there. One of the most popular is the one I actually own, which is from the DJI Phantom 3 Professional. Of course, they have the 4. They also have the higher end models as well, the Inspire, Inspire 1, and so on. But these guys are absolutely amazing because it's not like you're flying your drone and recording your footage and it's all shaky. No, these things have built-in stabilization. And what that means is that whichever way the camera is tilting, forward, back, rotating left and right, the camera will always be stabilized. It will always counter it, right? And that's what makes your footage super steady. Of course, the more advanced models of any drone brand have more features. So for example, at least with my drone, the Phantom 3 Professional, you can shoot 4K 24p and you can control the exposure, you control the ISO. I'm going to talk about these things in a later video. Be sure to subscribe and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!